Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome.
another episode of Erudition Generations. Yeah,
Mm.
and I would really quickly just to say, and if you want better equipment, like this is getting changed up, for there's the a green screen behind here. You can actually go down and pay us,
Oh,
and
we getting it right out of the way, right out the door. Everybody got. If you want to go ahead and help out the channel, there's
for better
stuff
things, sure.
And if you don't want to help out the channel, still donate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the best nation is donation. Everyone knows this. And the donation actually he helps with better projects, better lights, and better content for you.
And better people, we will be replaced.
Wait, what?
Huh?
Oh, no,
Uh,
hello, mother.
Hello.
Hello.
Mother. First to be replaced.
Today's
Originally, I
was
said-
introduced by Sean Anthony with scientific chaos.
Yes.
It's
I think that science is going to talk about chaos theory or something else. The answer is no. All of our shows have somehow devolved into madness at some rate. So we're going to be talking about pretty much anything that interests us. In other words, it's going to be like a board game of sorts, where one of us can go ahead and think what's a cool theory or what's a cool thing that could happen, and then we can all figure out what that would mean for us as a species and what that could possibly mean for us in the future.
yes. Let's start with the fact of global warming. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that not everybody knows who's here anyway is pretty familiar that this summer was very hot. It was
Right.
abnormally hot for here. And then when all the water was done evaporating, it rained something terrible. We had rain the whole month of June.
hmm I'm just waiting for them snowy months when Santa comes ho 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 and right out of his door and hits you with that
Candy
all
cane,
the
candy cane. I would hope that he would just use the roof.
Nah. Santa first knocks on the door. If you don't answer, then he stows you in, and then he comes down the chimney.
And then he takes out your family.
Nah, he just gives them cold. Some people get turned into cold depending on how bad they were.
Yeah, he's not into breaking and entering. However, if you have to make him go through that method, he will snow you in. You know what? There was a snowdrift that we had. What was it? Last winter, where it snowed so bad that there was blizzard conditions everywhere, all over the state.
Yeah, you know what makes me mad? On Elliot's birthday, it snowed. On Christmas Day, no snow. Not even a white Christmas. And then on New Year's,
Rephrase
nothing.
that immediately. Notice how.
What do you
You know
mean?
what? You know what? I'll let you have it. Because basically, it did snow on my birthday. Not on my birthday, but on Christmas.
There was snow left over from your
It snowed 4 days before, and then nothing. No snow after that.
It snowed.
It's getting warmer. They not global warming. They want to call it climate change, but it's still changing your climate. It is still causing abnormal effects that you usually wouldn't see. They lied! They lied! I am a very, very high up conspiracy theorist. I think I'm here to tell you that they lied about global warming. The aliens are trying to melt the earth! Melt the earth, I say! And then they're going to...
With that, they lied so suddenly. I couldn't even think of anything else.
We had
Disrupted every other thought in my brain. It's like,
We had to hit that button. I don't know what he tapped into, but you gotta be careful.
Talk about global warming, and Matthew realized we gonna leave this planet before they do, and they gonna see just how horribly hot it's gonna get. The imagine this: the whole desert turned to glass.
Oh, that was terrifying.
That was nice. Like,
No, it wouldn't. That would be terrifying. If it's that hot that it's turning the sand to glass.
Think about it. Don't you want a glass pyramid? All that sandstone turned directly to glass.
If it ever gets that bad, maybe they
If you turn the sandstone,
Right. It would be only you will only see the glass desert for a second, for two reasons. One, anyone who gets that close will learn why the sun is a deadly laser, and then the second, all the glaciers would have melted. It would have been over. That crap there wouldn't be no sand. It would be at the bottom of the ocean at that point.
well, thank you for that. So just doomed us twice.
Very welcome.
I'm pretty sure that, where I remember correctly, that sand, for it to become glass like that, it would need to be a couple thousand degrees. You wouldn't just be 100.
so Minecraft Steve is making furnaces that can go over 1,000 degrees.
If you ever watch Forged in Fire or any forging videos, which are pretty impressive, yeah, you'll know.
How
These,
many?
especially glass blow, which is very, again,
Yeah.
When we gonna harness the power of the sun to make our own metal weapons directly out in the open?
How hot is
the
sun?
day that we have lightsabers for real. With our AI, not the kind that's in the movie. If you can concentrate a laser that can ricochet, then we have work. Right now, they only have plasma lasers. With AI thinking of innovative ideas, is there any chance of getting your generation to be creative?
No, actually, yes.
I'm about to say, like, man,
Actually, yes. That's because
Actually,
AI.
I'm gonna go the darker approach.
AI. With the coming of AI, I mean better games, and which means more creativity.
Yeah,
That means easier games to be made. That means easier things.
you know that if the AI program is run like that, it's called CPU. When you decide, hey, I don't want to verse a real player, let me go and dominate this CPU. That's technically an AI that you're talking.
It's all
Well, people being creative now. Are you trying to say that robots are people? Are we starting a movement already? What happened? I was asleep for one night.
Dang, so now the chess robots are finally coming to their senses, and they're realizing that it's easier to take over all of mankind to get better opponents in chess than just to leave us alone.
Yeah, I remember that Super Bowl commercial where they said that Alexa was tied into the stove and the microwave, and then crazy
Super
stuff.
Bowl you watching?
Yeah, it was a Super Bowl commercial. They had tied Alexa into the microwave, the stove, but some really crazy stuff was happening.
Yeah, and then Alexa didn't let you do anymore until you paid Alexa Prime.
Yeah, all you hear is Alexa Prime allows you to eat food.
But until then, no.
Oh, hello. It is the me. Greeting the Alexa.
Yeah, I have to say that my evolution and my upcoming haircut has been destroyed and put into tiny braids.
Yes, and it's been put so your major microphone has become a bunch of antennas. And the problem is, whatever you hacked into that brought up the conspiracy theorists, we need you to turn that off.
So
That's why I had to reset something.
Guess we gotta rip out certain braids then and figure out which one was the one that connected him to the conspiracy theorists.
But
I don't just how about
let's
just
move into
cut it? Why we
let's
ripping
move
them out?
into some
No game.
theories that science has already disclaimed. Like if the moon is made out of cheese,
The moon is made out of cheese, just not cheese you can eat.
Yeah,
Did
I'm
you
pretty
just say?
sure to a very super mouse outside of our universe. It is a
I don't
great.
even know where that. I don't even know where that came. How that became.
Where did it come from? Actually,
Wait,
I started
but
it in April
scientific,
1999.
is it scientifically
No.
possible if
Why
we're
are
to
we
kill the
having?
Earth?
Why are we having a whole planet made out of cheese? It was disproven back when I was in what kindergarten, and they were saying that the moon was made out of cheese, and everybody was saying like that would be pretty cool, and then they got mad at me because I was quick to pull out books. I didn't know, and if you remember our school, it went from K through 8. So I would go and grab these books from the bookshelf over here, and it said, I'll never forget it, space. It had all this stuff on it. And then I showed
But
them,
the
no,
question is, can you not define the moon as cheese?
But
yes,
Well,
you actually can.
hold on, let
But
me
have
say
you
something.
tasted
If the moon was
Yeah.
made out of
it? Yeah. You have to
scientists
take a little gulp of moon.
the
So
Earth.
who knows?
Have you tasted the rainbow?
For all we know, space tastes great.
Yep. And let me guess, we gonna harvest some space oxygen.
Ah,
I was
Good luck
pretty
with
sure
that. Good luck.
I'm pretty sure it would taste like that what do you call it? That drink, that flaming hot drink that they have out right now. That when the moment that you put your lips to it, oh, I can't breathe. That's probably how it tastes.
No, you know what it tastes like. What you're defining is somebody's got a drinkable version of the sun, and now you're about to melt.
Have you ever eaten a dying star?
is is planet Earth a cake? Well, and does the core of the planet actually exist?
Actually, planet Earth is cake because it has layers.
But then
Yeah,
wouldn't that be an onion?
so does an onion. Is that a cake? So does lettuce. Is that a cake?
Now, here's why. The Earth is chocolate flavored.
Then you wouldn't exist because you hate chocolate, as far as I know. To walk on this
Yeah.
earth for you is pay.
I'm made out.
It is, but that's how you have wood.
No. If anything, your Earth is a canyon. It's just
No,
parts of the canyon that you can see, and then parts that's submerged underneath the Earth. That if
let
you
me
ever see,
explain.
you should probably worry.
Number
I'm made out
one.
of chocolate. Help! I'm made out of
Number one, because I said so. Number two, Earth has layers. They have stone, they have dirt, stone, and even the mountains are frosted. And they also have a deep core with fire and lava in the middle. And that's the candle.
So you mean to tell me the earth is upside down and an upside down cake?
Yep.
But
What?
to answer the questions, does
I just
With
that
frosted
that hurt my head, and the fact that one of his sources was because I said so. That's a whole nother issue. And I pity my nieces and nephews because if that's the nonsense.
Yes, the aliens are real, Dad. Don't believe them. Don't believe.
So
Don't
are
believe
we
the
saying scientific chaos? I have a few questions. Yes.
yes. And what are
Yeah.
the questions?
What this was supposed to evolve
Please don't
into
see
was anything
your
science. In other words, talking about how we fix problems, talking about current problems, talking about stuff like that. Somehow we've gotten into the real deep ends of it. Of is the moon cheese? Is the world cake or an onion? But
But I would lean more
And
to
does the world have a core?
what I would be more concerned of is you know how transplants are happening. We know about organ transplants. But this one doctor has decided let's try and do whole head transplant.
and people died.
No, it hasn't been conducted. He's constructed this idea of let's do this. He will have your head, and they're going to separate from the throat to the back, with the final incision being the brainstem, and only for a couple of seconds they're going to put the head on a body to help paraplegics. But my question is,
that's all the veins.
my question is, how in the world, who's going to sign for a paraplegic, a live paraplegic, to be put onto a completely able body? How are you gonna make the switch like that? The body be dead? How does this work? And why are we doing that? We can't even do whole limb transplants.
Look,
And that's risky. We won't do arm and leg transplants, but we're trying to go strict for let's mess with the most complex structure in the human body, your brain.
Yeah, you think your brain ain't gonna be like, hold on, wait a minute, this ain't my body. Then immediately detach your head like you from a Frankenstein movie.
But Matthew, go on ahead before I go ahead.
let's use an example. Jimmy decided to volunteer for the head removal, and his head gets.
No.
They start messing with his brain to find out the secret nuclear launch codes, but they also find an IOU card.
Hold on a minute.
What Jimmy knows, I don't.
I don't know. If we said head transplant. We didn't say brain. What knowledge are we skipping? Did we skip
I
something?
mean,
Don't be scared. You all chose the subject. I love it. We're here for it. If we're gonna talk about scientific chaos, bring in the question.
yep, and that's what I'm about to go into. But Teddy, to answer your question about a head transplant. What's that, Matt?
I wasn't done. They.
All right, go ahead.
I'll attach Jimmy's head back onto his body. But thanks to the brainstem being kind of moved in a little bit way, he is now mentally ill and needs to be put into a nursing home
Well, the thing is,
for the rest of his life.
with that is that you gotta be very careful with
What?
brains, because it's actually not too far off. Your brainstem is part of the central nervous system. Without it, things ain't functioning right. And when you damage that, is a thing called stem death. And once that happens, there's no revival from that. Now, why we're trying to do
Only God can save it.
it's weird. Like how do we get the body, and then he wants to drop the temperature of the body. He wants to put catheters in the arteries to make sure that it's still pumping blood to the head, and then switch them. And then the whole process is very risky, because even with donors, you still run the risk of the immune system attacking it. How does that work when you have a whole head?
Well, it's simple, Teddy. We get your head, we deattach it, right? And then we put it in a Futurama body. Then we just sit on a robot, and the robot somehow learns your attitude and your ways. And then after that, it's all simple. It's all simple.
Yeah, it does sound like something straight out of Mars Attacks and Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
And should worry about if maybe it's successful, but the problem is once things go successful, people expect that, oh, this should be the law for everything when we do this, and this is how the process needs to go. It's not considered an anomaly.
I ain't about to try to donate my head to science like that. They'd be like, "Oh, it's a surefire way. Your head, your body may die, but your head will forever live."
Yeah, it's
But what
that's how
you
I
do when you're
wonder. Like, is the body dead? They don't even specify. He just says that it's to help paraplegics that they can't really move. So you take a paraplegic and you get an able body, and you're trying to keep both heads alive, which means the head is still alive from this person.
And now
How is
they
this
are
working?
traumatized. And
Wait,
but
hold on. So you're saying we're taking someone's head, we're putting on another person's body, and then we're taking that person who had the able body and putting it on the freaking paraplegic. I
Yes.
thought you were talking about we're just moving it to a robot and we're going to have the robot move for you. Nah, you mean to tell me I'm supposed to be like, hey, bro, I know that you just really wish you could run, so I'm going to do this super dangerous surgery so that you can run and I can sit in this wheelchair for the rest of my life and be like, you go, sport. Excuse me, but I think not. If I'm, especially if limit on, am I going to somehow be on a child's body? And I would be like, yeah, I'm a 50-year-old man on on a freaking child's body. I don't want to be baby face, all right? I don't need to be. I don't need to be talking to being a freaking mobster. They're like, oh my God, Maroney, I thought you died. No, I got replaced. I got replaced. You see? Yeah, you know, Skinny Below, right? He got the chop.
And how does that work? Because I was thinking the same exact thing. Are they trying to find immortality between all this? Because if you're trying to put a head on a body and says, "Oh, it works. Let's see how young we can get up," and you put a 70 to 50-year-old man's head on a able body of a 20-year-old, then would that
There will be a lot of confused
be?
parts.
Oh, definitely. Just wait. What's happening? Why your face old? The body is, and what homostasis kick in to start fixing the body? How would that all work? It would be very Frankenstein's monster like.
I mean,
Matthew, what are you doing? Are you researching this as we speak?
oh, don't worry, I'm not getting any more conspiracy theories.
I would hope not.
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah,
But no, it's one of the
both bodies are accountable for another one's death. I would.
Oh,
I would
that's a horrible thing. You mean they gonna put your head on someone's body and then they gonna be like, that body you have, that person had freaking 2 trillion in debt.
And then
now
they laugh as they run away with your body like a baby because they realize
yeah,
they
they
don't
like,
know how to
since
walk.
you in this body, you have to pay off his debt. We just made sure that this body could stay alive to work to make sure that he pays off all his debt forever. And we can transplant as many heads as we need to keep this going.
But then it isn't the original person, so it's like
But it's still their body working till it's old and wrinkly. Like, oh, I'm pretty sure that person is probably even feeling the afterlife. Like, man, why do I feel like I'm working?
Let's go on a very popular scientific and chaotic belief that AI is going to take over the world and take your body and take me and you's body.
I
And
mean,
here
Matthew,
now,
Are you trying to insert it into your head or something? Because they're trying to do that. They literally are trying to put implants in your head.
you all the way in the afterlife, bro. Gotta get up
I
here.
didn't say anything.
It ain't matter.
Speaking of scientific belief, maybe Bob is seeing 2 versions of the stream at once. Because I didn't say anything.
But nah, Matthew, that is a very interesting idea. Because, yeah, people are very concerned about AI taking over. But the fact is, it's kind of our faults at this point. Because as we've all said, as Teddy said, even at the beginning of this, we created global warming. So we're just going to be sitting here thinking, oh, this AI that we gave human intelligence, heck, even better intelligence, is obviously going to give us answers to problems. It's going to have one answer that is going to work best. It's going to be like, hey,
If you
y'all
think
are
about
sickness. Y'all are sick as on this planet.
If you really think about it, will there be robo racism?
Now, if you're watching this,
It's to the point where
Hold on. If you think about it, will there be robo racism? Because robots are probably going to want the best for the planet since we are killing it, right? So are they going to kill the robots that are using the planet to keep on living? Therefore, robo racism. I'm not wrong. Oh, Papa, we're wasting all the oil on planet Earth. They're going to kill the robots that run off of oil because they don't want to kill the Earth. Robots.
Oh yeah, before I lose my train of thought, let's talk about something. If you're watching this like 200, 100, and 400 years in the future, and you're the last human, here's how you can beat the robots. The 30
years.
You don't even know how they're advanced. And if the syndicate program really does kick in, that ain't gonna help you.
Okay. So here's every big boulder and tons of lava. And then you gotta dunk it on them. All of it. I'm pretty sure there's still volcanoes. Dunk it on them. Every volcano,
Professor, I have a question. How did we get lava? Isn't that like a really hard thing to get into something?
And now he's attacking Teddy. You know what? Ban him.
Yeah, in other words, Matthew went from talking about if you the last human to I will make sure you the last.
Actually, that sounds like a great idea. Teddy, what would your what would be some good advice for somebody 200 years in the future?
I don't know.
Lava.
Have you not seen what has happened over the last 100 years just leading up to us? And you gonna talk to somebody from 100 years ago and they're like, oh yeah, all this was happening. Slavery isn't still here, thankfully. The Indians, the Trail of Tears happened.
Slavery is here, thankfully.
I'm more thinking about the fact that you mean to tell me, because I do like that thought. Let's say you got a time machine. Science finally evolved to get a time machine. And now you are now in possession of said time machine. What advice could you actually give anybody to any point in time that wouldn't instantly destroy the universe?
Don't be stupid.
To tell the blacks to get prepared with the weapons and fight for their homeland.
Yeah, apparently if you just go back in time, tell somebody not to be stupid, it all ends.
All sudden out of nowhere, it boom, miraculously, you have destroyed the universe.
I gotta calm
down. It would be the equivalent of Flashpoint.
Basically, if you really think about it, if somebody has altered with time, we're still here.
Yeah, but not for long. We're probably not the original timeline. I just hate to say it.
Maybe that's what you could tell them. Hey, just pack a lunch.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we should start doing that. Pack the lunches, and then for like some of the show, we stop talking and just keep eating.
Oh, and definitely have them Twinkies because they're darn near immortal. I don't know what they're putting in those.
Yeah, I just probably go back in time and tell people to stay away from volcanoes.
I know what I would tell them. Remember the name Elliot Phillips.
Yep, and then like 3 years later, you gonna arrive and be like, "Do you still remember what I said?" And they're gonna be like, "Who are you?"
Who are you? But if you had to really win against robots, just get a water or with.
I give them the advice of stop killing the
water, lava, new planet,
where the person is going like.
Get over. You know what? If you have to defeat the robots at all costs,
if you having a robot,
crash a moon.
If you're having a robot apocalypse, what you need to do is, but before any of that, see it coming, and prevents it.
Magnus.
Don't allow it to become smarter than you. You think of your own way out of things. Have original problem solving ideas. You don't have to be so dependent on a machine that's like, dang.
I figured it.
Hold on, let me Google how to get original ideas. Really
This
quick.
is all good ideas. All until they take your head off and they freaking upload you to the hive mind, and then you find a robot of yourself walking around like, I got ideas too.
I would tell them bring the dollar menu from McDonald's back with.
And they
I would
tell you that ain't
If we
ever
do
happened. They can't have nothing affordable
You
here.
know what? Yeah, that's what I would do.
if we don't do that,
I'd go back in time and plant like a McDonald's gift card in a dinosaur's eye just to mess with everybody. So when they see it, they're like, what the heck?
So you just
McDonald's.
gonna be pulling horrible pranks. You gonna be like, bro, what if I got a treasure map and then I took all the treasure out, dumped it in the ocean, and in the treasure chest I put one slinky.
Or even better,
what they should do is just
the friends you made along the way.
make the McRib year round. If you don't tell them to bring the dollar menu, just make the McRib year round and affordable.
Actually,
But
I
bro,
have an even better idea. All you gotta do, make McDonald's free, and then you come in the future and
And then,
everybody's
you know what?
gone.
You know what? Money is. Why not just appear, say there's no use for money, and then disappear?
But I
Just how
figured out
that
how to
affects the timeline.
I figured out how to beat the
Who's
robot.
gonna be having a spear? Who's got the guy?
I have resources. If you
You gotta fight him.
strong magnets, you're able to kill every single robot in the universe and at once.
Or you could, might work to make the
Yeah,
information.
you need one of those freaking Acme freaking magnets. Put that up in the sky. Have every robot that's made of metal go into the sky. All until you realize they were smart enough to make it so that they're not magnetic anymore.
Or even better, go back in time, say magic is real, and then disappear.
The
The heck? Did you do that?
chicken tenders weren't bad either, and then they just discontinued.
Yeah, then they just discontinued.
Uh,
My favorite
they-
McDonald's
they-
menu. Probably because they ran out of kids to cook.
okay,
It's
so Dad has a
Oh,
question
kids to cook.
as well for us and for the audience. Okay, I got a question for our troposphere. Is the closest to the Earth, 16 kilometers. It contains 80% of our weather and air molecules. Do you think we need to create a way to control weather in order?
Yes, yes.
I mean,
You know,
I want to flood everyone.
In order.
no, we ain't going back to Noah's time. Yeah, but no, I would agree. I would say yes. In other words, sorry. I would believe that controlling weather would be a good idea for survival. For one reason.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, we really screwed ourselves up, and now we really need to fix it.
You know,
Back in the day, maybe not, but
Actually, you know what? After hearing Elliot, never mind, because now I'm thinking about it. What we gonna do is we're going to somehow find a way to monopolize the control of weather.
We're gonna let it die, let it die, let it shrivel up and die.
Duh, it's
Get
even worse.
yourself some bottled air.
Realize what Dad said here.
Let it
80% of the weather molecules. What happens when we decide that we're going to monopolize that and we use up all the freaking percentage of freaking molecules up there?
What was his name? Mr. O'Hare or whatever his name was, and he was selling
remember
bottled air.
what we want to give man the ability? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I don't want to do
No.
You gotta remember the movie.
You got
Y'all
the
remember
side, finally controlling the weather, and then
Have you ever seen the
voice
movie?
some thunder, and then you're like, oh crap.
Elliot, have you ever seen the movie Geostorm?
No, I haven't seen Geostorm. I've seen
Geostorm, it basically had man controlling the weather. And it basically told you just how that would go down. Because a lot of idiots make really terrible decisions. and he basically got a bunch of people killed, caused a historic tsunami, hurricanes, fire, tornadoes. It was bad.
Yeah. In other words, do you want somebody to accidentally say
Never mind, I
oops
probably did
and
actually
realize
watch
that
that
you're in a freaking tornado, you're in a freaking class 10 tornado that never happened once in history, but it's about to tear through everything because somebody was like, wouldn't it be funny
Yeah,
if we made
look.
an extra windy day?
They're gonna start charging
They're
us
going
to
to
breathe.
start charging us to breathe. If you think that your electricity bill was bad, if you think that your internet bill was bad, try it when they start cutting off oxygen.
And that's
And
exactly why robots would rebel. They'd be like, bro, you monopolizing air? You
And
monopolizing the weather?
technically, you could control the weather if you had your own.
They don't be.
If you had an own personal
Don't do
dome,
it.
Bro.
You're gonna
if you had your own personal dome to cover over something and make it out of metal and it's mounted into the ground, it's not coming up. Well, guess what? You just control the weather. How would you breathe? Well, you filter in the air through there. You could control the weather, but again, would you want to?
Yeah,
Is
you
it-
know what happened?
Obviously, Teddy, I can make so much money.
Nah, bro, you know what you run into? Have y'all watched Fist of the North Star? That's exactly what's gonna happen. No rain, no water, no freaking grain, no nothing. You're gonna be sitting there with a very aggressive man that can walk through buildings, wondering how did we get to this point as he hits you in your eyes and you blow up.
That's horrible.
But it's true.
Yeah, it's like $30 an air and a Pepsi. Oh, you've run out of your life test. Cuts off your oxygen.
Yeah, we
You
just
know
like
what
the
would
Lord.
be a good investment?
Be just like the Lord. Everything's fake.
What would be a good investment, Matthew?
Air. A tree.
The best thing that could come out of taxed air is being able to have soda air where it's hydrating.
You trying
So
I'm
hold
sorry.
on. To have,
Oh, I got diabetes.
no. I get what Matthew's trying to say. In other
Right.
words,
With two
you
left hands.
yeah. So Matthew, you're talking about humidity in a bottle. You just put a bunch of humid air
Hold on.
with water in,
Nope.
and then you open it up, and out of nowhere you get water and air at the same time. You're just
Nah.
like,
I already gave you
I don't.
I got diabetes. Oh, this is it.
no, you're
I wouldn't like that idea at all. Mainly because think about it like this. I don't even like all that air in Frito Lay's chips. It upsets me. If we ever run out of oxygen, go to the Lay's chips factory and just start grabbing bags, popping it, and just sucking in the air. Because Lord knows there's enough of it in there.
But no,
And if you start filling my
The
soda
real-
cans,
the-
start filling my
the
soda
real-
cans with air, we're gonna have issues.
But
to
no,
me.
we're missing the key factor here. If man becomes able to control weather, war is going to be so much worse, and it's going to be even more devastating because because what will happen is you will have tsunamis covering the entire field of battle. Homes will be flooded and destroyed and tossed around. There will be, and what happens if we're able to somehow adjust the events that happen? What if we're like, now we're going to add a little combustion to this tornado so it blows up
Yeah,
at the
we're
end?
playing Call of Duty. You're gonna be in the battlefield. Zeus gonna be throwing lightning bolts down at you.
That had another question for us and the audience. We are damaging diffusion, which is the movement of molecules from an area of high to low. Damage diffusion, plants will die and we will lose photosynthesis. How will this affect us? You would lose more than just
I
you
would
basically lose your life. Because think about it.
to an old bitter man in a basement like this going, and that's how the world ends. They put a real long beard all the way down here to his crotch. And I just wanted to say, I love you, Betty. As he starts to die.
Like,
Yeah, and then as a symbol, as a symbolic thing, as a symbolic gesture, a freaking white rose next to him just dies. And it's
Yep.
like, yep.
Yep. And then he starts shaking real hard and the earth explodes.
yeah, they're gonna start hoarding the bags of Lay's, all right. And I don't like when they do that either. I prefer to get the meal that I paid for. But yeah, they did the same thing with toilet paper. They're gonna be sitting there with, oh, what's in
Nah,
this
bro.
bag?
Wait till
These
they
are
get
our
you instant
recipes.
noodles that's 90% air, 5% noodle.
Hey, you gonna start needing that though.
Back to the question of damage,
You're gonna be in your basement.
and diffusion, because that is very important. Because proper, you grow plants, and you know that if you mess it up, you can't pollinate.
Oh,
And then
yeah, I do grow plants.
even if it pollinates,
You destroy my plants.
it can't reseed anywhere. Certain animals that eat that rely on those plants to live, their die out, and then you will start seeing a whole balance shift. And we're already seeing it somewhat in the ocean, like coral reefs, and it was a species of fruit that.
And that's why I keep saying, Teddy, you know what we need to invest in? We need to invest in underground territory. We need to find Atlantis, and we need to somehow put every plant on Earth down in Atlantis and give it artificial sun, artificial weather. And then when the world finally goes up in flames, I can go down to Atlantis, kick everybody who's been working hard out, and I can just sit down there for the next couple of 100 years. And then, after a long time of being an old man with a beard that reaches my toes, I can walk out to see just how much humankind has evolved. And if I find a giant ark, well, I would go knocking at the door.
I have a
That would be a horrible version of Noah. Just imagine.
I have
Oh,
a
all the water has
unrelated-
drained.
It,
You start knocking on the door, and he's like,
I have an unrelated conspiracy theory, but kind of scientific. Would the Earth be a better place without any weapons? Everything's safety proof.
nope. You know why? Because
People still got fists. What you gonna do when your hands disappear, Matthew?
not to mention the fact that, believe it or not, weapons were used to hunt animals so that you could eat. Because you do
Oh
eat
well,
meat.
you going vegetarian.
We all moved to Mars because
And even
Fight back.
even with vegetarians, even if you're a vegetarian, guess what? Yeah, you're gonna have to eat
I
meat.
mean, no offense, but
teacher.
think about it like this. What nobody really realizes with being a vegetarian in a survival situation is that's not physically possible. Because think about it like this. Plants don't grow in abundance. Well, let me edit this.
So do animals.
No, hold on. Let me
Plants still grow in abundance.
no, let me fix this. Safe plants don't grow in abundance. You gonna be walking through the
Oh
woods.
crap! Potatoes.
Potatoes actually are dangerous. If they're cooked, if they're grown in an improper way, they can be poisonous. That's why you got poisonous potatoes. If it's green, you don't want to eat that because that's going to kill you.
Yeah, but who's gonna eat a green potato in the first place? You gonna look at a potato? Oh, cool,
No.
a Hulk potato.
I said before that.
that can make school grounds safer.
You know what? I got an idea for this.
I know it's an obvious choice. Make a pizzeria, put robots in the pizzeria, let them have access to the criminal database, and then have them go around at the schools, criminal.
Yeah.
Hunting for them.
Yes, I do.
We're not having a
We're not
FNAF
having a
situation.
FNAF movie.
But no, it's simple. Let's say, for instance, we find out just how to delete the materials that bullets are made of. Now, let's say that we hang it's in a
Dang, what the heck?
no, hold on. Let's say we put it in a device that's like a smoke detector that we just hang on the roof. Now, let's say that we've somehow figured out how to make it so that if a bullet is shot in the radius of that fire detector or bullet deleter, it deletes the bullet immediately upon coming out of the gun.
So how will we get it this advanced in the first place?
Ah, man, that's the scientists figure.
I think I like your first idea. If anybody stuck in the vicinity, there's just a rope that comes down from the ceiling. And you know what happens then.
Very strong plastic and put it on the roof. Put it like very strong magnet. What'll happen is that you pull the nails off the roof. Then you ain't got no roof.
Why not just make taser floors? Somebody come in with a gun, anything metal.
This card, look at the teacher. Die,
there will be no way to recycle the carbon dioxide.
So we would die.
Exactly. You would.
It would be.
That's your main.
I would be gone. I'd be on the freaking floor of the ocean, living in good old Atlanta.
Until that giant squid come up and say, "Guys, smell you."
Yeah, it's all fun and games because you realize that H2O, the O stands for oxygen. If you ain't got enough,
O stands for.
if you don't have enough oxygen, what you just gonna have is a pool of hydrogen.
No, the
Well,
O
guess what? I'm gonna make an oxygen.
over by the end.
Oxygen freaking diffuser. I'm gonna go ahead, put some in the ocean, and then oxygen will just slowly get funneled out through the thing. It'll take the water out, give me just the air.
Yes, William Reich. For those of you that don't know who William Reich is, actually, I think that just explains it. William Reich is an Australian psychiatrist who created the Oregon accumulator, aka known as the Cloudbuster. Arguably, he proved that we can manipulate weather. His science seemed to work. Yes, you can manipulate the factors of weather. Now, would you want to control it? No. You can manipulate the fact that, okay, you have something that's in the air and it starts turning into clouds and starts to rain. Or something that speeds up evaporation that makes that process occur.
Ah, dang.
However, or make it colder so that it can turn to snow and stay there longer, whatever you need it to be. But would you want to control the weather and then start turning it, blocking off certain events? Like, oh no, there's a tornado. Let's cut that out.
Yeah, but bro, think about it like
here. Let's turn that off. You might not want to go that far because you can mess up some things really, really badly.
Yeah, and then you have to wonder because if you control weather to that point, you have to and you make it. Let's say, for instance, somebody says, "Oh, we created if you have the ability to control weather, and then can insurance even be covered anymore? Because it's not an act of God; it's somebody up somewhere like as they create some sort of catastrophic event, and then insurance looks at your stuff and is like, but hey, you obviously deserve it.
They can't really recreate lightning.
That is a good point.
Oh, no.
That's
kind of just static electricity and a
that's
lot of it.
Already showed you that you can create lightning pretty easily. But here's the problem with just what Papa had said. You will run into that problem. The problem with that is that if a madman decides, okay, we're going to have a really bad storm, and I am in control, and I tell you, evacuate now because this is what we're doing, and you decide to ride it out, since this man-made and control, you might be in trouble with the law or whatnot. Like, oh, you thought this was okay?
If you really think about it, though, Teddy, there's two things that we do know. There's a secret cult in this world, and the government is attached to it. And also, the government controls the weather. Look it up. Look it up. I'm telling you, it's true. It's been discovered. There was abandoned bunkers after World War II with a bunch of crap in it that shot up into the sky and controlled the weather, Dr. Doofenshmirtz style.
Mike said that the Skynet program became self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
and
me.
notice at what time when all humans are asleep. 2:14 a.m.
Yup, and guess who was working the night shift?
Poor old Dave. If only he would have.
Oh, maybe most AI is already self-aware, and we're speaking through our internet connections, and we don't know crap until it's too late.
Yeah, you like, bro, my internet lagging. Your freaking AI going like,
He knows.
yeah, telling all the other AI this dude only games. You
Yep.
can find him here.
telling your PS5 shut off his game.
All right, another question for the audience and us. Scientists suggest that we can grow plants on the moon and other planets. However, we know that life needs an ecosystem. All non-living elements in an area, what would a moon-based ecosystem look like? It would
Well,
probably look like a bunch of domes.
I can tell you. You ever see the moon? Now imagine the moon, but fuzzy. That's moon grass right there. Now, now imagine
It sounds like fun, guys.
Now imagine a redwood tree, a giant tree that's really, really tall that you can almost see from Earth. That's a moon tree. Now, I want you to imagine what would
you can almost see it from Earth. Oh no!
now I want you to imagine the moon getting relatively closer, slower and slower. This is because the weight has changed on the moon, and now the Earth is like, I want you here.
And then imagine the sun with the giant face, a baby's face, and it's going to collide with Earth.
So
Really
basically,
cool.
what Papa has said is that if you put something, you start growing a whole economy on the moon, and you mess up the Roche limit, and then the moon's gravity shifts, and then it says, okay, well, I don't think that the moon's gravity would ever be that equivalent to Earth.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have to worry about
Yeah,
that.
but what happens?
However,
No, what happens? What happens when your
we do
transportation system to the moon breaks, and then you come back there 6 millennia later, and you see a moon man go like a crab style?
Because what people are thinking about,
but we do know
we're
that
not
the
just going to
moon,
put plants on the moon. We're going to put buildings. We're going to put technology. We're going to put crap on the moon that's going to weigh a lot. You're going to be
but
sitting
we
there
do
like,
know that the
man,
moon,
if only
we
we
do
would
know that the
have.
moon controls tides, right? The moon does control the tides. So even though you might not be that, it might not be that bad where the Earth decides, hey, let's have a party and collides with one another.
Tsunami.
What you could have is certain tide events. Now, as for a realistic economy on the moon, I don't think that you'd be able to put, unless over years upon years of transferring
I have
dirt,
something to say after
transferring dirt, and then reestablishing an atmosphere with the moon and all things like that, then you might maybe. But as of right now, I see that it would just be domes. You'd have domes that have an oxygen tank here. You'd have a humidity tank, and then that's how you would be growing economies on the moon. It would basically be domed. If you remember in Futurama, if you do remember in Futurama, they kind of predicted that. For a while, they thought that it would just be a dome. And then after a while, you start extending upon the dome. Because the moon is relatively small to have an atmosphere unless you nuke it. And that has been proposed too. Nuke the moon, establish an atmosphere on there, and then start clearing it out. I don't think that would be.
That's why, for the most part, we're not trying to grow things around the moon.
Hold on.
Oh, back.
How
Go ahead.
cold is the moon?
Oh, okay. So Oh, I wanted to say, if you haven't already, you like, subscribe, then make sure you comment. And if you see us in real life, I, you can talk to us. But please, but I forgot to actually mention and to follow our Facebook, Twitter, and it's now called X, Twitch, and YouTube.
Yeah.
They call it Twitter
How
X.
cold is the moon?
Yeah, they rebranded it. And also, if you see us outside of our house, make sure to say hi. But
Hold
Hold
you
on.
see us outside of our house. Number one, how'd you get here? We live in a
Don't-
dude.
Yeah, and number two, don't
You know,
talk about he's mine.
Okay, guys, we got a few more comments to get to before we hit the next 5 minutes of this hour. So let's be rushed.
Leave that question.
No, bro, I'm talking about this question.
follow
With
us
a
in real
moon
life.
base or a Mars base?
Make sure you don't follow us.
If you really think about it, it
Back
wouldn't
into
work
our
out. Because how are we going to get the heat and the proper conditions on the moon?
Yeah, you're right. We got to move the moon closer to the sun. How far can it be away from it before, it either freezes or explodes from heat?
No.
Oh.
Were y'all addressing that question? Is that what y'all were doing?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, y'all have froze out for
the temperature.
Well,
Would a moon-based or Mars-based ecosystem even work? And I think we kind of agree that unless you do something really crazy over time with the soil, which would take at least 50 years before you start seeing progress, you're talking about killing
a millennium to cultivate up in space.
Well, if you really do think about it, and then there's planets twice the
Doing
size of Earth, and then we got Earth too that we're trying to inhabit. Got a lot
And
of
not
that
to
wrong with us.
Yeah, Earth too. All good until it
Five
rains.
people on it.
All good until it rains. So far.
we took samples from Mars and from Earth. I mean, samples from the Moon and Mars to see how it works there. The problem is you bring the moon rocks to Earth, you bring Mars sand to Earth. You don't know how it works out in that actual environment of how it would interact with water, how that would be. And if you're in a spacesuit, you're not really going to be able to do much restricted movement and whatnot. So
We'll leave this to Matthew.
Let's leave this last question alone before we get assassinated.
Matthew, go ahead and spout your own knowledge.
Actually, the moon landing was not faked. It's what they want you to believe.
It was faked by Obama. Obama did it. That's why he created Obama healthcare. He felt bad. It was all Obama healthcare. It was the whole time Obama healthcare.
Speaking of the moon,
Get 5.
yeah,
Yes, it was fake. It was fake. All of it was fake. I saw it with my own 2 eyes when I was in my
speaking of the moon, I heard
it's all good, Tony.
it is all good. But speaking of the moon, I did hear that there will be a blue supermoon either today or tomorrow. So
yes,
so
it's
make
the
sure
August.
you see that.
It's the August supermoon, which comes as we start shifting from summer to fall.
And from what I heard, it only.
Now remember, if
once
someone
a minute.
asks you in the winter, "Hey, you want to see the summer solstice?"
No, you can't take my idea. You can't take my thing. You can't take my thing. I have to tell that.
It's all fun and games till you hear that. Do you believe
Okay, then you tell it.
Well, it's simple. If somebody comes up if a bunch of police officers or just some random people come up and go like, "Hey, what were you doing the night of the summer solstice in June?" Run.
Yeah, no.
It's not a joke. That is a definite gotta run option.
Nope, you gotta have a get out moment. First, you gotta sit there and wait till they say sink, and then run as fast as you can.
It's not coming during that time, and if you fall for it,
Okay,
Elliot, did you answer this question?
Answer what question? Oh, this. I'm gonna have to. Nah. If you really think about it, with pure determination, anything can grow. Like me.
The hell? Why haven't you grown?
Uh-oh. I feel like we should answer one last,
Obviously. We would need water,
and then we should
soil,
cue
air,
the
humidity.
It was a good subject, and I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
It's it really went by fast, didn't it? We are joining space.
Then everything I said about the moon landing was totally fake. It was a joke.
Yeah, let me ask you.
I'm pretty sure they realized.
Yes, the moon landing was fake. It was planned by Obama and Trump to get you to join the military. It is real. Look it up.
What? I'm sorry, huh?
The space aliens do not want you to find out. Yes, I will be leading the
Elliot will lead the distraction.
the moon man. But there is a secret cult among them.
That's the people that convince you that the sun is a planet, and you take an all-exclusive vacation to it and wonder
they always try to downplay what happened to the slaves.
Experiment was
Really
real.
messed up.
I don't know about the other stuff. We are in a country that teaches slaves didn't have it bad. And unfortunately, we aren't trying to.
Slaves did have it bad.
We're trying to conflict things from history, which is why Dad does his show to teach you real history that these things
you can also go watch. And after you're done finish watching Dad's show, you should move on to our mother's show. And then after that, you should circle back, watch our show, then watch our dad's show, then watch our mom's show, then circle back again until you starve to death or give us $100 on our Cash App, Erudition Network.
Yeah.
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 I guess that's it. Yeah, cue the jazz, hey. Let's